Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We are in Tennessee this morning where a months-long hearing over the murder of Holly Bobo is back in court. Defendant Zachary Adams, convicted in 2017 for kidnapping, raping, and murdering 20-year-old Holly Bobo. She disappeared from her family home 6 years prior to his conviction. Recently, his defense team has been trying to get him a new trial based in part on some testimony from a co-defendant named Jason Autry, who is now claiming that he lied under oath about Adams murdering Bobo. So when the hearing last convened in November, you may remember this, Adams' defense attorney, Jennifer Thompson, testified that although she was admittedly unprepared for his trial, she believed that he was innocent. Now, before we get you into the courtroom, here's more on the case against Zachary Adams. Court TV's Julia Janae reports.
First-degree felony murder of Holly Lynn Bobo during the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate kidnapping of Holly Lynn Bobo. You checked guilty of first-degree felony murder of Holly Lynn Bobo. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
20-year-old Holly Bobo disappeared from her home in 2011. 6 years later, Zachary Adams was convicted for the kidnapping, rape, and killing of Bobo and was sentenced to life in prison thanks mostly to the testimony of this man.
Jason Autry, Jason-Autry.
Jason Autry testified at trial, recounting the day Bobo was kidnapped, claiming Zachary Adams and his brother wrapped Bobo in a blanket, placed her in the back of a pickup truck, drove her to a river, and shot her.
And I grabbed the upper torso of Miss Bobo. Jack come around, let the tailgate down. I brought the upper torso to the end of the tailgate.
But now Autry claims he made it all up. He sat down with Nick Barris at Scripps News Group Nashville before the trial to say this.
Make no mistake, Jason Autry is a liar. He told two stories, and the question now is, which one to believe? The answer will decide if a convicted killer goes free. And all of a sudden, Jason Autry is saying he made everything up, that he was able to make up all those details because his attorney provided him discovery. And with that discovery, he was able to sound very convincing at trial.
Zachary Adams is now appealing his conviction due to Autry recanting his testimony in hopes he will be granted a new trial.
Julia Janae reporting there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We understand the judge has just gotten on the bench and they have just called the first witness of this hearing that's going to be largely focused on the state's evidence and the state's position. So we're going to find out why Zachary Adams should not get a fair trial over the next 2 days. That's what's projected for this hearing. So we'll hit a break. You'll see all the testimony live right after this.
We are going to be there when it pops.
Okay, let's get to it.
Those guys, they're the best.
Okay, boys, you know the drill.
I think you'll be surprised what you're capable of. Connecting focus.
We'll get this guy.
Together, like we always do. Kind of forgot how crazy things can get here.
I love this team.
Find Ion on your channel guide or favorite streaming service.
I'm just gonna speak to the elephant in the room, okay?
Okay.
Did you know Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any knowledge of the Bobo family?
Miss Karen Bobo was my 4th grade teacher at Parsons Junior High School in middle school.
Did you kidnap Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you rape Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you murder Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you have anything to do with the disposal of Holly Bobo's remains?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's convicted killer Zach Adams. That was from previous testimony he gave in this hearing where he's petitioning the court for a new trial. okay? And he's hanging his hat on his co-defendant's recantation, so we say, of statements he made. Co-defendant Jason Autry had made statements about Zach Adams killing Holly Bobo, and then he's retracting those statements. But what about all the other evidence, right? The court has to consider other things. So this first witness being called by the state, he's with the Tennessee Department of the Treasury. And why he's important is because we heard about defense counsel for Zachary Adams saying that she didn't spend enough time on the case, right? She had that testimony she put in. Well, he was in charge of these billing records, right? Because if she's being, paid by the county, he's going to be looking at that. So this is going to be important, what she billed for it. It goes to the time she did spend defending him. So let's go in for that.
This matter, were you approached or your agency approached to perform any type of review of some records?
Yes, our office was approached by Ms. Jennifer Nichols about performing analysis of Ms. Thompson's ACAP billing records, just to present that information in a manner that would be more easy to understand generally how much time she spent working on this case and what areas she spent her time in.
So let's break that down for everyone. What is ACAP?
So ACAP is, I'll go a little step further back. So the state has an indigent representation fund, which is used to pay for the representation of individuals who need state-appointed attorneys, and that fund is administered by the Tennessee Administrative Office of the Courts through their ACAP system, which is the AOC claims and payment system. State-appointed attorneys submit their hours through that system to the Administrative Office of the Courts to receive payment for their services. So
I'm sure the lawyers and the court are aware of how this works, but could you give an explanation as to what does an attorney have to put into the system to get paid?
So on each ACAP claim form, an attorney has to list by date the activity performed on the case, where they provide a detailed description of their work, the amount of hours worked, either whether that was in court or out of court for that activity, or they can also list expenses on a line on that form as well.
Okay. And our General Nichols came to you with certain records that we received from the AOC for Jennifer Thompson's billing for this case. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And as part of your testimony, did you prepare a PowerPoint?
I did.
Okay. And Judge, I'd like to just put that on the screen.
Objection, Mr.
No.
I have copies for it.
Okay, so they're pausing. We're going to pause. It's perfect timing. We've got to hit our break as we're coming up on the top of the hour. If you're just now joining us, we're in Tennessee in a hearing over the death of Holly Bobo. One of the co-defendants wants his conviction vacated. He wants a new trial, and he's hanging his hat on the statements of his co-defendant. Today, we're hearing from the prosecution. Welcome to our second hour of Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We're in Tennessee for a key hearing in the case of the murder of Holly Bobo. One of the men convicted of murdering the 20-year-old nursing student is trying to get a new trial. That is defendant Zachary Adams, and he's hanging his hat on the testimony from Jason Autry, this guy. So Jason Autry's testimony had helped convict Zach Adams. But now Jason Autry is taking back that testimony, saying that he lied and that what he said was untrue. Can we trust that? There was a lot of testimony that came in support of Zachary Adams getting a new trial. One of the witnesses who testified was the lawyer who represented him in that trial and admitted on the stand that she was unprepared at the time of trial. Well, now it's the state of Tennessee's turn. So over the next 2 days, they're going to be calling witnesses to try to support the position that the conviction should stand. First witness they've called today is with the Tennessee Department of the Treasury. And so what he did was go through the billing records of this lawyer who was representing Zach Adams. Let's go back in.
In reviewing these records, what was your aim?
So the purpose of our limited analysis of this was to not necessarily draw any conclusions about the quality of Ms. Thompson's work or whether the amount of work she performed was sufficient. We just wanted to provide a summary of her billing data, which would make it more easy to understand for the court's purposes. Generally, yeah.
On, I think, the 6th page, after we provide you the initial documents received from the AOC, did you go back and receive a more complete record?
Yeah, so the initial records that we received did not include any billing data for May 2017 or September 2017, September 2017 being the month of the trial. And so once we met with the folks at the AOC and looked through some of the data in their system, they discovered that they had not provided September 2017, and that was caused by an issue with, so they have the AOC has an audit process for all of these claims that come through, and because Ms. Thompson's time in September 2017 had gone over certain thresholds where she was working more than 8 hours in court hours or more than 12 out of court hours on several given days, they have a process where they're required to then contact that attorney and say, okay, you've gone over certain thresholds, we need more timekeeping records. Ms. Thompson did not follow up with those additional timekeeping records, and so therefore that claim was never actually paid for September 2017, but they were able to still pull the data that she had originally submitted for her time worked for that month.
Gotcha.
But there was no claim that she submitted for the month of May 2017.
Okay. If you could turn to the, I think it's the 7th page, it's the ACAP claim form.
Yes. So this is an example of what an ACAP claim form looks like, and this is one of Ms. Thompson's forms from June 2017. As you can see on the screen, these are listed by date, activity, in-court hours and out-of-court hours, or necessary expenses if necessary. The reason that hours are broken out by in-court or out-of-court is because those hours are paid at a different rate. In-court hours are paid at a higher rate. And you'll see in the activity column just some examples of what these descriptions look like. And they are fairly detailed, which gives us insight into what Ms. Thompson was actually working on for each of these lines. You know, for example, you see receive and review email from ADA Ragland regarding duplicate copy of lab reports. That's fairly specific. You can get an idea of what specifically she was working on, and so that gave us, it's these descriptions that gave us insight into how she allocated her time working on this case.
Did you find the description she's provided to be detailed?
Yes.
Okay. So moving on to, you get all these documents from the AOC. They're in PDF format?
Correct.
So you need to take, is it true that you need to take the information on that PDF file and put it into another format to be able to do your job?
Correct. So luckily the PDFs were in a searchable format. So for example, if you were to open a PDF, you could search for a keyword and find that, which made conversion of those PDFs to Excel very easy. We have a software called the Abby software, which allows us to run those PDFs through the software, and it will convert all of those to Excel. And once that data is in Excel, it's much easier for us to use that data and summarize that data.
So the next slide, which is billing data in Excel.
Yes. And so this is what that billing data now would look like after that conversion process. I believe once it was into Excel, it was around 2,300 lines of billing data after that conversion was complete.
So how do you go about this task? That you have thousands of lines of entries. How do you start making buckets to put these entries into?
Yes, so the first analysis that I performed was to look at Ms. Thompson's allocation of time. And to do that, I had to create various categories that I could then assign to each of those lines of billing data. And then once those were all categorized, we could then summarize her time by those categories. And so I had to create these categories myself and assign them myself. The ACAP system now has its own categories built in, but they did not institute those categories until September 2017, which was the month of the trial.
So to clarify that, before the month of the trial, an attorney on an appointed case could put the time entry in but not have to click on a category in which the time entry related to.
Correct.
And now there's a separate menu on ACAP where you have to designate the category and the work done.
Correct.
Okay. So on the next slide, we have categories ACAP versus your department, the comptroller's office. Why did you come up with your categories?
So my categories are similar, but I did them a bit differently. And you'll notice that in the ACAP categories, you have category 6, which is telephone calls, or category 5, which is correspondence. And I didn't think that those were very descriptive. And I had used those as categories originally, but when I summarized the data, the largest categories by hours were telephone calls and meetings, which is not very descriptive to tell you how she's spending her time. And so I created more detailed categories such as communication with defense team and experts, communication with client and family, that sort of thing. And I can talk a little bit more about how I determined which lines belonged in each of those more specific
I'd like you to explain
categories.
how you defined and figured out where to put what.
So looking through the billing data, there are many instances, which I think you could see on that example, like it would say call with and list an individual's name, or meeting with and list an individual's name. And so I was able to determine, sometimes by context clues, it would say, it may list that person's name and list in the description that they were an expert, or list that they were a mitigation specialist. And so I tried to determine who each individual was and assign those individuals in a separate area to categories and say, okay, this attorney is a member of the defense team, or this individual is a representative of the court. And that allowed me to put those meetings and phone calls into categories based on that individual's affiliation to the case.
Okay. Let's jump to Jennifer Thompson total hours worked. That is page. You need to see this. This is page 22.
Okay, so this is, and real quick, I had categories that we showed up on screen, which were the major categories, which I had 10. I also had 39 subcategories, and each of those subcategories fit within those major 10 categories. And so this is a chart showing the breakout of Ms. Thompson's total hours by subcategory. And so on this, since there's 39 of them, this is a very large chart. I think on the next page I had shown just the top half, but zooming is fine as well. And so this gives you an idea of how her hours were broken out, or how she allocated her time to each of these subcategories. And as you can see, with discovery review, with records review, trial prep being the top several categories.
So for discovery review, how many total hours were you able to find in your review that she performed that work?
366.2 hours. And just to give some insight into how I would assign those categories, I was really, it's all based on what she included in her description. So if she, in her description, talked about discovery or discovery review, that item would fall under the discovery review category, which could be different from records review because you may have a line item where she talks about reviewing certain records, but it doesn't necessarily mention discovery. And so that would just fall under records review.
How many hours were you able to find for trial preparation of Ms. Thompson for this case?
265.5 hours.
Okay. What about defense team meetings and calls?
226.8 hours.
Motions, orders, and briefs?
Okay, so a lot of time this attorney spent on this case. She acknowledged on the stand it wasn't enough time, that she felt unprepared, but yet went through with it. It was the first time that she had also done a death penalty case. That was acknowledged. So from the defense perspective, they have the testimony from this trial lawyer that makes it seem like he wasn't given the best representation for this case. But what the state's doing through this witness is showing that she was prepared, spent so many hours, 226.8 hours working on this case, that she did know the material and that she did give him a proper defense under the law. So how we really got here was because of the testimony of this co-defendant being recanted, this Jason Autry. Can we trust this guy, this 16-time convicted felon? Should we trust Jason Autry and what he says? Let's bring in our guest this hour. Still with me, law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter. I want to welcome in attorney and former prosecutor Rob Corbett. Good morning to you both. Okay, Rob, so talk to me here. Jason Autry, do we trust what comes out of this guy's mouth? What do you say?
First off, good morning. Thank you for having me. Regarding Mr. Autry, the court does have to look at it in terms of being skeptical. What's going on is that Mr. Adams was not able to prevail on a typical appeal. So the defense is using a different post-conviction relief. And in this, they're saying that a main witness is now recanting. So what the court has to consider is this information that was not known at the time of the trial. Now, he is a convicted felon. You have to look at him in terms, like we say, in terms of being skeptical of what he has to offer. So what the prosecution is doing or has to do is show that even without that testimony, there was sufficient evidence that a reasonable jury could convict beyond a reasonable doubt. And they're using attacking, it appears to be two prongs, and that they're also looking at in terms of the Autry recanting his testimony. And it seems they're also trying to argue ineffective assistance of counsel by saying that the defense attorney was not prepared for this type of case.
Right, exactly, Rob. Yeah, so going at it from every angle they possibly can here. And so after Autry, gets out of prison he gets this plea deal for the Bobo case, then he goes back in because he picks up a gun case. As soon as he's out, he's a felon in possession of a handgun, so he's facing federal prison time. He's currently behind bars in the federal prison system. So his past, I'm going to look into this. This is reported by local station WKRN. I mean, he's got a very colorful history here. Sonny Slaughter, let's look at this together. Aggravated assault, drug trafficking, burglary, active membership in the Violent Area Nation gang, admitted participation in Holly Bobo's abduction and murder. Reports also say he was violent toward partners and family members. Again, this is all according to WKRN TV station in Tennessee. Committed a racially motivated assault and involved in violent altercations and drug trafficking while doing prison sentences. Sonny, we got a stand-up guy on our hands, don't we?
Absolutely. Good morning, Rob. It's good to see you and be on with you. Oh, this guy is like stellar. We should absolutely take his word for the fact that, the co-defendant wasn't the co-defendant, and and Jason is just absolutely telling the truth. My co-guest explained it perfectly. Process and what the defense team is doing, and even though I'm the law enforcement expert, I am also a defense expert too. More often than probably the prosecution. So the defense is doing what they must do, what they are, required to do, and they're coming at this from every single angle. However, the prosecution is standing firm on its belief that regardless of what this recantation might be, that the evidence speaks for itself, that they are standing on solid ground, and that they are clear about what they did in their trial, and that nothing is going to happen, but they are still going to follow the process, go through the motions, and they're not looking for this case to be overturned. But it is still a process, and the public has to understand that although you might not like it, justice is the lens that we must all go by. And for the respect of justice, we must follow the process, go through the motions, and this is a part of it.
Yeah, amen. Sonny and Rob, thank you much. Stand by, please. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll go back to that hearing together in Tennessee over the murder of nursing student Holly Bobo.
The world's attention is focused on what we are doing here.
He claimed dying was not a crime, but prosecutors thought it was.
This is a murder trial. Jack Kevorkian killed by injecting him with drugs.
Dr. Kevorkian has never in life intended anybody to commit suicide.
He was the only person that could help.
Michigan versus Dr. Jack Kevorkian. The trials of Dr. Death, weekdays at 2 Eastern on Court TV, Legendary Trials.
Thanks for staying with us here on Court TV Live. We're going to go back to the hearing for Zachary Adams in Tennessee in just a moment. This is the Holly Bobo case. But first, I want to show you what's on our docket today. So there's a hearing for defendant Tyler Robinson scheduled for today. This guy is accused of murdering political activist Charlie Kirk. Now, we're unsure if Robinson will actually be present in the courtroom today. We'll find out together. But we understand the judge is expected to make a ruling on a motion filed by numerous media organizations seeking limited party status in the case and access to audio recordings from a closed hearing that took place back in October. This hearing today starts up at noon Eastern time. It's set to last about 30 minutes. We're going to bring you any new developments right here on Court TV. Now, let's go back to Tennessee. We've got a witness in the box in the case where Zachary Adams is trying to overturn his conviction. This all hinges on the testimony of his co-defendant, that guy there on the right, Jason Autry. A 16-time convicted felon recanted what he said before about seeing Adams killing Holly Bobo. He takes that statement back. Well, should the judge believe that? What about all the other case evidence? Let's go back in and hear more from a comptroller with the Tennessee Department of the Treasury. He analyzed the billing hours of Mr. Adams' attorney.
202.5 hours.
What about witness interviews and research?
157.4 hours.
Further down, does it give a time for her work during the trial?
Yes, 74.2 hours.
And does it allocate, or did you find work done for focus groups in her billing?
I did, and that was 41.8 hours.
We're going to jump to Jennifer Thompson allocation of time worked by category. It's the pie chart.
Yes, and so as I was saying, I had, as charts we were just looking at were these subcategories, and this is the 10 large categories, which all of those subcategories are organized under. And so the largest piece of the pie here would be evidence, records, and gathering and review. which would include some of those, the discovery review, records review, evidence review.
And this is from September 1st of 2015 through September 30th of 2017, correct?
Correct.
So this didn't encompass any time spent on the motion for new trial?
No.
Or the appellate work?
No.
On the next page, did you tell the court about how you determined the average or hours per week worked on this case for Ms. Thompson?
Yes, so the next analysis that I performed was to summarize her billing data by average hours per week. And I wanted to show that average hours per week by calendar quarter, just because, you know, when you look at these large numbers, it's hard to digest and compare that to something and get an understanding of if that's a reasonable amount of time or not. And so I thought, you know, showing an average hours per week would be an easy comparison to the 40-hour work week. Everyone can look at that and say, okay, now I can understand how much time she was spending on this case on a given week. And I decided to summarize that by quarter, just so that we would only have 9 bars in our chart rather than 25 if you were to show that by month.
Okay. But you did have some missing data from the month of May.
Yes, as I said earlier, there was no billing data submitted for May 2017, but we were able to look at James Simmons's time and see that he had listed on his ACAT billing records for the month of May 2017 that he listed multiple occasions where he said he was working directly with Ms. Thompson and for 9.1 hours during that month. And so based on that, it seemed clear that Ms. Thompson did work on the case during that month. We just didn't have data for that month. And so as a result, I did not include May 2017 as a part of my average for the second quarter of 2017. And I did that to avoid that skewing the data. So if I included zeros for that month, it would have brought down that average, but it wouldn't have necessarily been representative of her actual average hours worked per week.
Because we just don't know.
Because we don't know what her time worked was, but we can tell from, it appears from Mr. Simmons' time that she was working on the case that month.
Okay. If I want to jump to the graph on that, which is, I think that's it right there.
Yes.
Could you tell the court what's going on here?
Okay. And so this chart shows Ms. Thompson's average hours worked per week by calendar quarter for our scope. And as you can see, generally her time worked on the case increased over time, as you'd expect. And you can see in Q1 and Q2 2017, she's near 40 hours a week on average working on the case, with a significant bump in Q3 2017, which would be the 2 months leading up to the trial and the month of the trial.
Did you have the chance to compare her billing to Jim Simmons' billing?
Yes, I did a similar, found similar data on Mr. Simmons' time. And so we've got a chart where you can see the average hours worked per week by Mr. Simmons and Ms. Thompson. So there's the totals. You can see that Ms. Thompson did work significantly more time on this case than Mr. Simmons. A little over 1,000 more hours worked on the case.
So for, I think it was September 1st of 2015 through September 30th of 2017, you have found that she worked 2,870 hours on the matter.
Correct.
And what does this chart show?
And so this chart shows similar data to the previous chart. You can see the blue columns are the same data from that previous chart that show Ms. Thompson's average hours worked per week, but this one also includes Mr. Simmons' average hours worked per week. And so you can kind of see consistently she was working more hours per week on the case, and his time seems to follow a similar trend line with his hours per week increasing as they approach the trial.
And that's page.
So what the state is trying to do here through this witness is show that the trial attorney who represented Mr. Adams was effective in her representation of him. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll go back in Together Live.
Were you ready for the trial?
No.
Had you communicated to Zach that you did not feel prepared?
No.
Did you communicate to him that your mental health was declining?
No.
That was Zach Adams' former defense attorney admitting that she was unprepared for his 2017 murder trial. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Holly Bobo, a beautiful young nursing student who went missing in 2011. Today, Zach Adams is back in the courtroom, his defense team pushing for him to get a new trial, saying that the state's star witness lied under oath. The state, though, pushing back, saying that the conviction should stand. And they've called a witness to testify to just how many billing hours this attorney submitted to the county to show that she was, in fact, prepared and very effective as his trial counsel. Let's go back in.
Moving on you looked at some collaborative hours?
Yes, I did. So I decided to perform an analysis that showed the number of hours, average hours per week, where Miss Thompson and Mr. Simmons were working together. So that would be based on Miss Thompson's billing data, where she listed that she was specifically working with Mr. Simmons. So that would be any meetings or phone calls directly with Mr. Simmons.
And is this chart representative of that?
Yes, this is the chart that shows the average hours that the two worked per week across this scope. And you can see it does follow a similar trim line to the other charts, where the amount of hours they worked together increased or as they approached the month of the trial.
So you're finding billing entries by Jennifer Thompson saying that she's working with Jim Simmons during the times?
Yes.
And vice versa, you're also finding billing entries in Jim Simmons' work showing that he's working with Jennifer Thompson?
Yes.
Okay. And it's fair to say that they work together more as the trial approached?
Yes, that's what the data would show.
Judge, I would like to move that PowerPoint into evidence.
Objections, Mr. Bates? Done. All right, what's our next number exhibit?
148.
I'll make this exhibit 148. Mr. Boyano, I don't know if the exhibit that, are you going to put it in as a PowerPoint on a thumb drive or the printed copy?
Either one. I mean,
let's do the print copy.
Okay.
But I will say that the court's version, the last page is analysis number 3 in the pie chart or the bar chart created that compares Jim Simmons with Jennifer Thompson. I don't have analysis 4 in the other graph.
Then I'll put
my printed copy.
Well,
maybe on the
right. So I will use a clean version of the PDF on a flash drive if the court is agreeable to that.
That's fine.
Okay. So I'll make that a they call exhibit 4, which would be number 148. This is the comprehensive summary. That's basically it passes up to yours. Mr. Richardson, what is this that I just passed out?
This is my comprehensive summary about the work that I performed related to this case.
Okay. And this is this summary cites numerous Excel worksheets and that you created for this data. Is that right?
Correct.
I want to turn your attention to the third page. The subcategories with over 100 hours worked. Discovery review, we have 366 hours. Is that right?
Correct.
And then we have records review, which is 266.
Correct.
Okay. Could you explain the difference between those two flipboards?
Yes. So all of my categories were based, of course, on what was included in the descriptions that Ms. Thompson provided in her billing records. If it listed discovery as the purpose of whatever the activity was, then that would fall under discovery review. But there were instances where she described reviewing records but did not mention specifically discovery, and so I categorized those as records review rather than including them in discovery review.
Okay. On the fifth page, you give additional information as to Thompson and Simmons' hours worked together. Could you tell the court what your findings were with those numbers?
Yes. According to Thompson's ACAP claims, she spent 390.7 hours working directly with James Simmons. Simmons' ACAP claim shows he reported 390.3 hours worked with Thompson.
Okay. So, goes on to say that's a pretty close number between the two of them.
Yes, very similar numbers of hours that they reported working together.
Your Honor, I'd like to move this and the entire comptroller report into evidence.
Objection, Mr. Baker.
Okay.
All right, you're going to include the summary as a...
I will. It's a large file, so I would like to do a flash drive on that as well.
Do a flash drive on that and enter this. Well, let's just do them separately. We'll do the printed confidential investigative work product of Investigator Richardson as Exhibit 150. And then Exhibit 151 will be the flash drive. Is there a file name on it?
It's a folder. It's a comptroller financial report that...
Make sure, let's just clarify that with the court reporter during the break when you submit it to the court reporter.
Will do.
Judge,
yes,
we're at Exhibit 149 and 150.
Thank you. The confidential investigator work product is Exhibit 149, and then 150 with the flash drive with the entire report.
Mr. Fisher, could you tell the court how much Jennifer Thompson was paid for her work on this case?
I'm not sure if that's included in my summary here. I can't recall off the top of my head.
Okay. Those are my questions, Judge. Past witness.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Cross-examination, Mr. Bates.
In your report, do you remember reading an entry where Ms. Thompson reviewed ATM video footage in this case?
Not specifically.
Nothing further.
Follow-up questions to that, Mr. Moore. Investigator Richardson.
Okay, so that question, even though there's just one on the cross, it's an important question. This is something this defense team is hanging its hat on, saying that her failure to review that ATM video could have potentially changed the trajectory of this case. They're saying that Zach Adams didn't do this, that he didn't kill Holly Bobo, that he wasn't involved in her murder. That is the defense position. Of course, the state's is very different. Let's bring in former prosecutor Rob Corbett for some thoughts on this witness. Rob, did this witness move the ball for the state of Tennessee in your view?
In terms of moving the ball for the state, I would say yes. For the defense, I don't see how they are gaining a lot, at least at this point with this witness. It is subjective as to how much time a defense attorney is going to spend on any particular type of case. As technology increases, there is more and more digital evidence, body cam evidence, videos, traffic cam footage, and it can be difficult in terms of reviewing each and every one, and you have to triage sometimes and decide how much time am I going to spend on this particular type of evidence, and am I going to put my focus and attention on something else? So that last question that was asked by the defense, that the defense attorney did not review ATM footage, then the question becomes, how critical was that information? And even though she didn't review that footage, I'm sure it was described in the paper discovery in terms of what that footage would have shown. So she could have just made the decision that I don't need to actually review this. It doesn't show anything. It's not going to help me at this moment. It's not going to help me in my trial preparation, and I'm going to focus on something else. But the defense has to make that argument. I don't think, though, it's going to be persuasive to the judge.
I appreciate it, Rob. Appreciate your assessment. Thank you for that. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll hear from an investigator with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation who testified at the 2017 trial that resulted in the conviction of defendant Zachary Adams.
I don't care if death penalty's on the table or not. Absolutely, I'll to my dying breath, I'll be innocent, and that's the truth.
That's what he says. That's what he's still saying. Zachary Adams still trying to maintain his innocence, but he was convicted for Holly Bobo's murder. The question now is, will that conviction be overturned? Let's go back into the courtroom now together. We have an investigator with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation who testified as a state witness in the 2017 trial for defendant Zach Adams.
Back in 2017, you prepared a report for the state in this court that was, I think, entitled Bobo Cellular Analysis Report with, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that was previously entered as an exhibit, I believe, during your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I'd like to pass this up.
All right. Is this the
It is. I believe it was.
Trial.
Yep, I believe it was previously marked in the trial as Exhibit 208. That's one for the.
Objections to submission here, Mr. Judge?
None.
All right. Trial Exhibit 208 will now be Exhibit 151 for this hearing.
Mr. Rizal,
explain what it is.
Yeah, sure. Mr. Rizal, are you familiar with that document?
Yes, I am.
And what is it?
Sorry?
What is it?
It's a report. It's called FBI Cellular Analysis Survey Team. It's prepared by me as a TFO, Task Force Officer for the FBI. And it was dated August 31st, 2017, and 3 phone numbers were analyzed, 731-733-0191, 731-733-2073, 731-549-7352.
So that report contains certain phone numbers that the state specifically asked you to look at and do an analysis on?
Yes.
Okay. For certain time periods?
For August 13th of 2011. Not August, April, excuse me. April 13th, 2011.
I want you, could you turn your attention to page 5?
Okay.
So here we have, and I know I'm starting at the end here, but the 3 phone numbers you were asked to identify. Could you tell the court which 3 you were asked to look at?
731-549-7352. I believe that's the phone number associated with Holly Bobo. 731-733-0191. I believe that's a number that was associated with Mr. Zachary Adams. And then 731-733-2073. I believe that was the phone number associated with Mr. Jason Autry.
Sir, do you recognize that document?
Sir?
Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
More recently, we asked you to look at many of the numbers in this report and identify who those numbers belong to. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had time to review that document?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And is the information on it accurate to the phone numbers in your report and the people associated with those numbers?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I'd like to have that marked as the next number considered.
Objection. No. I will mark this Exhibit 152.
No, not right now. So, I want to talk about what is in this report. The original records you looked at were all AT&T records, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And they come in a raw format, is that right? Of activity records.
So they come in a format that's AT&T specific. Each carrier sends them different ways, but they'll come in a PDF.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pause the testimony for you right here. You won't miss a minute of it. We're broadcasting this hearing today in the case over the murder of Holly Bobo. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. This is Court TV Live, and I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott. Thank you so much for being with us on this Monday. We begin this hour in Tennessee, where a months-long hearing in the murder of Holly Bobo case is coming to a close this week. Zachary Adams was found guilty in 2017 for kidnapping, raping, and killing 20-year-old Holly Bobo, who had disappeared from her home 6 years before that. The defense has been trying to get a new trial based in part on testimony from a man named Jason Autry. Now that Jason Autry has said under oath that he lied under oath about Adams killing Bobo. When the hearing last convened in November, Adams' defense attorney Jennifer Thompson testified that although she was admittedly unprepared for trial, she believed Adams was innocent. Now, the state has their chance to present rebuttal witnesses before closing arguments are expected in this hearing tomorrow. Before we get you back into court, here's our own Court TV anchor Julia Janae with more on the case against Zachary Adams.
Zachary Adams is back in court, asking a judge to throw out his conviction for the murder of nursing student Holly Bobo. Adams' attorneys say his original lawyers failed him and that the state's case was built on coerced confessions and a broken timeline.
This is a legal nightmare. innocent men, and Mr. Adams was found guilty in this court.
Adams was convicted in 2017 on all counts, including murder and rape, but his new legal team argues the case was infected by fabricated testimony and missed evidence.
This is the nightmare our system tries to prevent.
The state says this hearing is an attempt to relitigate a case the jury already decided.
The smoking gun, it was shot at a jury, and they didn't flinch.
Much of the testimony at trial focused on Adams' brother, Dylan, and whether investigators pushed him into implicating Zach Adams.
And Dylan is super weak. He's fragile. Still talking.
They're saying that you said that Zachary killed Holly Bobo.
I did not. I don't know what you're talking about, Mama.
Do you admit, as a former case agent, there's no physical evidence connecting Zach Adams to any crime in this case?
Not that I can remember, sir.
It's all based on what people said they heard.
Correct.
Adams did not testify at his trial, but later took the stand here to proclaim his innocence.
To my dying breath, I'll be innocent. And that's the truth.
What the state has a responsibility to do is, first of all, protect the conviction from a jury of his peers of this convicted murderer, rapist, and kidnapper.
Adams' attorneys are hoping for a redo. They claim that under the pressure of public scrutiny in a case that made national headlines, law enforcement let pursuit of closure eclipse the pursuit of truth.
Let's get you into court now, where we are listening to an expert in call record analysis.
Text forward, sometimes both, but they have, they demonstrate, if I may.
Read page 4.
We're back to Exhibit 151.
Yes, page 4. I think it was 208 in the original, I think. So it lists the date of a call. It lists connection time, so what time the call started. And when I say call, I should say communication event. It could be a voice call or a text message. And then what's called a seizure time. And the seizure time is when a person presses send on the phone, and that's how many seconds that it's in the ring portion of the call. And then it lists the originating phone number, so the person making the call, and then the terminating phone number, the person receiving the call or the communication, I keep saying call, then the elapsed time, how long that communication event occurred, and that can be minutes and seconds. And then it shows the number dialed. That's the actual number that was dialed by the originating party. And then there's a column called IMEI. That's called the International Mobile Equipment Identifier. So basically a serial number for the phone, for the device that was used. And then the IMSI, the International Mobile Subscriber Identity, that's basically the SIM card that goes in the phone, and that's the subscriber information that's on that card. And then there's another description column called mobile to mobile. It's the type of transaction. And then the cell location. And so the cell location provides the LAC, LAC, that's the location area code for all the cell towers located within a certain area. And then the next numbers past that, so like in this case, 16019, that's going to be the LAC / and then the next number, 31522, and I'm reading the top one here, 31522. So 3152 is going to be the cell tower number, and then the last two is going to describe the sector for us. And then AT&T lists the longitude, then latitude of where that cell tower is located. And then the last number is the half beam width of that sector. So in this case, and that's going to be the azimuth, like on a compass, so 120 degrees.
So with these documents you received from AT&T, you're able to tell what phone called another phone?
Yes.
And these records reflect who's the sender and who's the receiver?
Well, it reflects on what number communicated with the other phone number.
How long the call lasted for?
Yes.
And the records give you information regarding the actual phone that makes the call? Like the identity of the device.
Say that one more time.
So these records will give you the identity of the device that made the call.
Well, it gives us the phone number that was used, and then if the identity of the device is the IMEI, that's the equipment identifier. So basically the serial number for the phone.
Gotcha. You given the information about what sector that the device is on
Yes.
an individual tower?
Yes, we can see where the tower, what the tower number is, the tower location, and then the direction of the sector that was used.
Can you explain briefly to the court, like what these sectors are and how they work with towers?
Yes. So let's use the clock on the back of the wall back here. So it's a good way to do this. It's analog clock. So from 12 to, cell towers, they have to cover 360 degrees. So in order to do that, instead of having what they call an omnidirectional, so one antenna is just broadcasting 360 degrees, they need to, for network capability and make it more user-friendly for people, so they can divide this into sectors. So generally they're in 120-degree pies, I'll call them. So 3 of those make 360. So let's say from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock would be sector 1. So each hour hands a 30 degree. So 1 would be 30, 2 would be 60, 3 would be 90, 4 would be 120, 12 being 0, like on a compass. So 12 to 4 is 120, 4 to 8 would be the next 120, 8 to 12 would be the next 120. So sectors 1, 2, 3. They're not always numbered 1, 2, and 3. You can add more antennas, and they could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They can keep going as long as they keep adding more antennas to cover more for their sector.
And could you explain how the azimuth works on these towers?
So we need to know what direction that sector is pointing. So they give us this 120 degrees right here. So you take that's the half beam width, and so you can go 60 one way, 60 the other way, and develop which way the sector is pointing.
In 2011, were most of these towers divided into these 3 sections?
Yes.
Okay. And within those 3 sections, the towers, would it be fair to say, is listening as to what a device is doing and able to capture if the device is active?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
If a phone is able to connect with that tower within one of the 3 sectors, it's able to measure and to tell what the phone is transmitting.
So in the records, the only thing that's captured in these call detail records is when a phone actually connects to a tower. So, example, I'm holding my phone up, it's turned off right now, so it's not doing anything, it's not registering with the network at all. If I were to turn this phone on, it's going to start registering with the networks. It's going to look at all the towers around. And it's going to constantly take measurements, and it's going to determine when I press the send button, if I want to make a call or if I want to send a text message, it's going to determine which tower it connects to based on the strongest and cleanest signal. So to answer your question, the only thing we see in these records is when a communication event occurred. When it's in idle mode and there's no communication going on, we don't see that.
What about if it's off?
No, we don't see anything.
So it would be fair to say you actually have to be getting a call, place a call, or a text or some activity to be able to see.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Let's talk about generally pings and differentiate that from cell towers. You testified at the original trial about pings that were done on Holly Bobo's phone on April 13, 2011. How is a ping different than looking at cell phone activity?
So a ping is when the network is actively trying to locate the phone. So in this case, the Decatur County Sheriff's Office contacted AT&T and asked them to try to locate that phone. So they sent some sort of signal out. They're trying to reach into the phone and get it to respond. And so what these pings do is they give what they call a confidence level rating. And so AT&T in this case gave us latitude and longitude to plot on a map. It's based only on the tower. It's not GPS satellite latitude and longitude.
Did that exist on the phones you were looking at this time?
So I know once her phone was located, it was examined, and the FBI examined it too, because I talked to the examiner, and no GPS information was located on her phone.
So we have a ping with an area and a confidence rating, is that right?
That's right.
And within the area of the ping, what more information can you glean from that ping?
All right, right now, these are state witnesses that the state is putting on to say no, he should not have a new trial. A jury convicted him in 2017. That should stand. Stay with us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get you back inside for more.
I'm going to ask you a lot of intensely personal questions.
From the crime scene to the courtroom, this is Victim to Verdict.
Everyone has this heightened sense of anticipation.
What a day here at Court TV.
Fireworks both inside and outside the courthouse.
Let the cameras roll.
I'm just gonna speak to the elephant in the room, okay?
Okay.
Did you know Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you have any knowledge of the Bobo family?
Miss Karen Bobo was my fourth grade teacher at Parsons Junior High School in middle school.
Did you kidnap Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you rape Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you murder Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you have anything to do with the disposal of Holly Bobo's remains?
No, ma'am.
Let's go back now to Tennessee, where convicted killer Zachary Adams is asking for a new trial in the death of Holly Bobo. The 20-year-old nursing student disappeared from her home in 2011. 6 years later, Adams was found guilty of kidnapping, raping, and murdering her by a jury. Adams was then sentenced to life in prison, thanks mostly to the testimony of a man named Jason Autry, a co-defendant. But now, years later, he says under oath that he made it all up. Let's get you back into court now, where a cell phone expert is testifying to Adams' call activity.
Which direction the device is within the area?
So what we do is we plot that latitude, longitude, that point on Earth that they give us, and then from that point we take the confidence level rating, and they always give it in meters. And so I remember the first one I think was 4,448 meters. So you take that and that's the radius. So you go from that point I'm just describing, you go 4,448 meters each direction from that point, and that's going to give you a diameter. And so we complete a circle that way, and that's the area that the device could be located in. So it's not an exact location at all.
So I want to turn your attention to what's up on the screen. I think it's page 10 on the report. So we have, I believe, was the first ping the AT&T location at 8:57 a.m.?
Yes. Would it be okay if I step down and, Your Honor, and point to this? Sir. This is in black and white, and it's kind of... Yes. So you're talking about this 8:57, can you hear me okay? This 8:57 a.m. ping here? Ask me your question again, please.
Explain what that means in terms of where the device is in that area.
We don't know. It's just somewhere in this circle. We don't know.
Don't know if it's north, south, east, west.
No. So what I can describe to you is that ping looks to me is that spot, this top one I'm pointing at. If we were to draw a line up this sector on that tower right there, it looks like it's in the center of sector 1 to me.
The next ping was at 9:02 a.m.?
Yes.
And what is the, how big is that ping area?
4,894 meters. And that's the radius. That's one direction. Then we have to go back the other direction to get our diameter. We can convert that to miles and figure it out.
It's a large area.
It's a very large area. So I would estimate this first one's about 24 square miles. I want to estimate this second one. I'm going to be wrong if I say this, so I'm going to have 28 square miles roughly. We need to double check me on that.
Okay. But what about the third one?
The third one's even bigger. So it's cut off here. This one's at 910. Yes, 910. 910. This is 7,100 square meters for radius. And that's about 60 or 61 square miles. So in other words, it's a little bit larger than the city of Jackson, Tennessee.
And again, that you have that area, but you can't tell north, south, east, or west where that device is in that area.
No, sir.
Okay, I want to turn your attention to page 10 in your report. This looks like it is tracking the activity of Zach Adams' phone.
What page did you say?
10.
Okay. Yes.
And let's start with the first time. The first time his phone comes up in your report is at 8:19. Is that right?
Give me 1 second, please. On this page, yes. For some reason, I had in my mind, yes, on this page at 8:19, that's correct.
Because other places in this report, it shows activity for 8:19 early in the morning. Is that right?
Yes, 4:54 and 4:58. That's on page 14. Yes, sir.
And this diagram that has a 3-2, what does that represent?
So that represents the sector. 2 being sector 2, 3 being sector 3. So I need to point out too, these sectors, they're perfectly 120-degree angles here. And so, and this little, I'm going to step back down if that's okay, Your Honor.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So this area here,
I want to welcome our guests for this hour right now to discuss some of what we're watching. Joining us now from San Francisco, California, criminal defense attorney Joseph Tully, and from Livingston, New Jersey, trial attorney Crystal Pettiford. Thank you both for joining us today. As we're watching this is a hearing that began in May for different reasons. It's been continuing along. Here we are again, the state finally getting an opportunity to present witnesses to say, no, the conviction should stand. Zach Adams should not have a new trial. Let me start with you, Joseph. What are your thoughts as you're listening to this first state witness?
As I'm listening to this first state witness, I can't help but think of the clip that you played of the prosecutor saying the state has an interest in preserving convictions. And I think that kind of would take a lot of people by surprise. You would think that the government has an interest in making sure that the truth happens, that justice happens, that, the truth prevails no matter what. And that's what this hearing should be about. But as you saw, the prosecutor kind of announced, look, we want to preserve that conviction. That's where our interest is. So I think people would be surprised at how often that sort of mindset infects a courtroom proceeding, if I could say, from a defense perspective.
And I love that you pointed out justice is what everyone should be after, whether he did it or not, what the evidence shows. Crystal, weigh in on that, knowing that the defendant says, based on a co-defendant taking back, recanting, and now saying, nope, Zach Adams did not kill Holly Bobo. He didn't have anything to do with it. Is that enough? Do you think that means he should have a new trial?
The defense has put on a lot of testimony that seems to yield to the idea that he does need a new trial. And I do agree what was just stated. It seems that the state has made it crystal clear that they are trying to maintain the conviction that the jury brought forth, but almost to the fault of not really observing the new evidence that's been put forward by the defense. The fact that Mr. Autry has now said that he's recanting and saying those things aren't true, the initial lack of any evidence aside from any physical evidence, aside from circumstantial evidence, and then you have his lawyer testifying to her own inadequacies. I think the defense is doing a great job putting forward reasons why a new trial would be necessitated, and the state just seems to be trying to preserve status quo, not really offering anything new or more compelling, just saying this is what the jury decided, so it should stand, and kind of discrediting the new evidence that's being put forward.
And I want to point out something that you just said and some of the specifics. There are no fingerprints or DNA evidence introduced into evidence that linked this defendant, Zach Adams, to the crime, the murder of Holly Bobo. And so I know the defense did point that out, to your point. And Joseph, here's my question. If you were the prosecutor in this case, how would you handle what you would present to the court? And here's why I ask that. Right now, they're going through the cell phone data. They're presenting evidence to say he did it, the conviction should stand. Does that necessarily go against or have an effective way of going against the defense's case and all the testimony that Crystal just referenced?
Sure. So I think that it does. So if I were a prosecutor, my mindset would be pursuing justice. And in most state prosecutors' offices, they have a sign in there, seek justice, do justice. Before, as you walk in and out the door, sometimes I'm very surprised that I see such a different mentality. But I think cell phone data is scientific. It's neutral. It doesn't care what side it's on. And so the state, by presenting cell phone data, which again is neutral and scientific, can run counter to the defense's argument. If scientifically they could prove that his cell phone was there and was pinging in these certain situations, or in a way that discredits the new testimony, then I think they're doing the right thing by presenting that evidence.
And that's what we're going to wait. I'm sure that's where this is going, right? I would assume that's where their testimony is going, but we're watching this together. So let's do this. We're going to take a break. If you could both stand by. When we come back, we're going to get back in for more of the testimony. Let's see, does the cell phone data show that this defendant was in the proximity of where Holly Bobo was found? Stay tuned.
Were you ready for the trial?
No.
Had you communicated to Zach that you did not feel prepared?
No.
Under oath, that is Zachary Adams, former defense attorney, admitting she was unprepared for his 2017 murder trial. She also believed in his innocence. Adams, though, was found guilty by a jury and sentenced to life in prison for the death of Holly Bobo, a nursing student who had gone missing back in 2011. But now Adams' new defense team is seeking a new trial, saying the state star witness lied under oath. Let's go back into the courtroom now, where we are still listening to that expert in call record analysis.
That just demonstrates the direction of the radio frequency, how it's going out. It doesn't mean that it stops here. It doesn't mean that it's in a crisp line going out either way. So I just want to make that clear. So what this would actually look like would be an irregular shaped polygon out that way. You can have little areas out here, little areas out here, little area out there that it may cover. But the 2 and the 3 represent the sector.
Okay. And the sector 2 of, and this is the cell tower by Birdsong, or the truck stop cell tower, is that right?
Yes, it's up on Cox Road, up by the North 40 truck stop.
That is sector 2 of the truck stop cell tower is Zach Adams' home sector. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And each entry on here is tracking either a text message or a phone call. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you able to recognize the phone numbers that are on this?
I can recognize some of them if I could get that exhibit back, so I don't have them devoted to memory.
Sure.
All right, the witness is being handed, this is a report, exhibit 151. Is that correct, Mr. Boyan?
Yes.
Pulling this from 151.
I don't know.
This is 152.
And if you could be handed 152, if you could be handed 151 and 152, which is the
152.
So the first phone call at 8:19, do you know who is, it's an incoming call, right?
That's correct.
Do you know who it's from?
2073, Mr. Autry, sending a text to 091. Let me make sure I clarify. Mr. Autry's phone to Mr. Adams' phone.
Okay. And his phone is receiving that text message in Sector 2 of Birdsong. Sector 2 of Truck Stop Cell Tower.
That's correct.
Okay. And if we, on the further down, we have a number 31523. Is that the same cell tower?
It is, just on Sector 3.
Okay. So at 8:53, his cell phone is jumping to the other sector of the tower. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then at 8:58, it's registering off of back on Sector 2.
That's correct.
Okay. If I can turn your attention back to your report on page 11.
Before you move to 11, Agent Burdell, when you were talking about the clock, you said 12 to 4 was Sector 1, 4 to 8, Sector 2, 8 to 12, Sector 3. That's not what this is depicting. You want to elaborate on that for me, please?
Yes, sir. So, in general, I'm just using that as an analogy to talk about 120 degree sector, what it looked like. So, in this case, ATT tells us the half beam width for this sector was 120. So we take 60 degrees each direction of 120, and that's how we develop the sector here.
So it's not consistent from tower to tower?
No, sir, it's not.
All right. You can ask follow-up questions later.
If I could draw your attention to page 11 of your report. What is this showing to us?
So this is depicting the phone number ending in 7352 and the phone number ending in 091, the towers they use and the sectors they use below. It also puts the ping information on here from 857, 902, and 910.
Okay. And what relevance is it that, because you're tracking Zach Adams' phone, which ends in 0191, is that right?
Yes. So,
and Holly Bobo's phone, which ends in 7352.
Yes. So 7352 would be the pink. 0191 would be the blue. And then you can see this is not really pink or blue, so it can't get a good color there. So it's kind of a mixture of the blue and the pink. One second.
After laying the foundation, the state is getting to the heart of this, which is now he's testifying about, yes, there were texts between the co-defendant Autry and this defendant Adams. Stay tuned. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get you back for more.
The world's attention is focused on what we are doing here.
He claimed dying was not a crime, but prosecutors thought it was.
This is a murder trial. Jack Kevorkian killed by injecting him with drugs.
Dr. Kevorkian has never in life intended anybody to commit suicide.
He was the only person that could help. Michigan versus Dr. Jack Kevorkian. The trials of Dr. Death. Weekdays at 2 Eastern on Court TV, Legendary Trials.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Let's turn now back to Tennessee, where convicted killer Zachary Adams is in court for a post-trial hearing this week. It started back in May. It's been continued along. Evidence has been presented. You may recall Zach Adams was found guilty in 2017 for kidnapping, raping, and killing 20-year-old Holly Bobo. She had disappeared from her home 6 years earlier. During trial, a man named Jason Autry, a co-defendant, testified that he witnessed Adams kill Bobo. But now, guess what? Years later, under oath, he is saying he made it all up, that it wasn't true. Adams' defense is now appealing his conviction based in part on this new information. Let's go back into the courtroom now. The state is presenting its case. They've called a cell phone expert who is testifying about Adams' cell records.
Moving on to the next page, on page 12, you are looking at a phone number of 2073, is that right?
Yes.
Whose phone is that?
That is Mr. Jason Autry's phone.
Okay. And where does Jason Autry's phone start the day?
It starts up using a tower up here in Camden, Tennessee.
Okay. And does it, what time is the first activity on that phone?
6:50 a.m.
Is it a call or a text message?
That's a text message. SMS stands for short message service. It's a text message.
And does Jason Autry's phone begin to move south that morning?
He used the next tower at 6:51. 6:51. He uses a tower further south, located on 641. So you look at this sector, it's using a southern facing sector on this one at 650. It's using sort of a eastern facing sector on the next tower at 651. It's further south.
By 8:19, where is his phone?
Starts using sector 1 on what you're calling the truck stop tower, the one on Cox Road of I-40 and 641. Uses sector 1 from 819 to 840, and then from 852 to 855 it uses sector 2 of that same tower.
From 819 through 840, if you could you see the numbers on the screen there?
Yes, I do.
Do you recognize who Mr. Autry is communicating with throughout the time?
819, his phone is communicating with Mr. Adams' phone.
So at 8:19, that's Mr. Adams' phone?
Yes.
Okay. What about at 8:30?
8:30, Mr. Adams' phone communicates with Mr. Autry's phone.
What about at 8:38?
8:38?
Yes, sir.
Again, Mr. Autry's phone to Mr. Adams' phone. And then at 8:38 again, Mr. Adams' phone to Mr. Autry's phone.
And this is 31521, one being the northern one sector of truck stop tower?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. At 8:52, does Mr. Autry's phone move to another sector?
At 8:52, it moves to sector 2 of that same tower.
Okay. And is that a text message or a phone call? Or a voicemail?
At 8:52, that's a voice call.
Okay. To who?
To Mr. Adams' phone.
What about at 8:55 a.m.?
Same thing, voice call to Mr. Adams' phone.
On page 13, this is tracking, is it true, Mr. Autry's phone between 8:42 and 10:48?
Yes.
Okay, so tell the court what's going on from where it begins and where it ends up.
So at 9:42 a.m., we see activity on a tower located right on I-40, the Birdsong exit. And we see it using sector 7 of that tower. This sector 7 points out toward the river. And then at 10:35, we see it move to sector 9 of that Birdsong tower, which points back to the west in a western direction. Then at 10:36, still on Sector 9 of that Birdsong Tower. At 10:39.
Still with us, Joseph Tully and Crystal Pettiford. Thank you for staying with us. Crystal, let me ask you this. So we're now hearing about text messages between the two. That is Zachary Adams, the defendant, and the co-defendant, who now has recanted and said Zach Adams had nothing to do with it. But does this go far enough to say, hey, here's evidence that this defendant killed Holly Bobo?
I think it's enough evidence to at least consider a new trial. You have a person who was one of the star witnesses in the trial who gave testimony implicating the defendant, who's now saying, I wasn't being truthful. So far, what we're seeing here with the text messages, I really can't speak to it because it doesn't tell us anything about the frequency by which the two of them previously communicated. Was text messages an anomaly for the two of them? Did they text daily? Right now, it seems that the prosecution is outlining the way Autry's phone traveled, but they haven't yet gotten to whether or not the defendant's phone travel in the same sequence, or if it was later a point where they were in the same place at the same time. I don't think the connection has been made yet. I'm sure that's where they may be going. But when you have a case with very little physical evidence, mostly circumstantial, where conviction rely heavily on the testimony of someone that is now recanting, I think you would be remiss to not really consider, aside from his testimony, what do we actually have here?
Yeah, great points, and I'm sure the state's moving in that direction. I want to shift gears a little, Joseph, and ask you this. How much do you think the prosecution, in this case and other cases, really takes into account the family's desires, Holly Bobo's family, and whether or not that means they are going to stand by a conviction like they said they're going to do?
So the state does have an interest in serving the public, and that would definitely include victims' families. However, that means nothing if this isn't the individual who actually did it. So again, the emphasis should not be on maintaining a conviction. It should be on finding out who actually did this and in seeking justice.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you both for your great expertise this morning here on this Monday. Coming up next, you don't want to miss, cell phone expert testifies there was nearly a 40-minute gap in Adams' phone activity.
Spree.
Welcome back. This is Court TV Live, and I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott. Our focus this hour is on Tennessee, where Zachary Adams is back in court this week in his bid for a new trial. You may recall he was convicted back in 2017 of kidnapping, raping, and murdering a 20-year-old nursing student. There's her picture on the screen. That's Holly Bobo. Now, Zach Adams is serving life without parole. Bobo disappeared from her family's rural home 6 years prior to his conviction. Investigators found no DNA linking Adams to Bobo or the site where her remains were found. Prosecutors instead relied on testimony from a co-defendant, Jason Autry. Jason Autry had testified under oath that he witnessed Adams kill Bobo. But now, in a turn of events years later, Autry is saying he made it all up. He recants his testimony that got Adams convicted. His defense team is now seeking to overturn that murder conviction based in part on that new information. Last, back in November, Adams took the stand during this month's long post-conviction hearing, denying under oath that he had anything to do with Holly Bobo's death. Let's take a listen.
Did you know Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any knowledge of the Bobo family?
Miss Karen Bobo was my fourth grade teacher.
Did you kidnap Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you rape Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you murder Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Isn't it true that you shot your mother?
I wouldn't say I shot her. I did operate a firearm in a reckless manner that caused her to get shot.
So do you recall sitting here in 2017 in this courtroom and watching witnesses give testimony and putting words into your mouth?
I do. Hearsay. Well, I sold a lot of drugs, and I found it a lot easier when I fronted drugs out. If people were scared of me, I got my money. I got paid. It was just the way it is in the drug business.
Did you say, I'm just going to ask, did you say, I'll kill you like I did Holly Bobo?
I don't recall saying that.
Okay. Did you tell Carl Statler that I did it?
No.
You were driving around in the car and said, let's rape this bitch.
I did make that comment. I didn't say, let's rape this bitch. We was riding around, and he was needing some money. He was wanting to rob somebody's house. And anytime I've ever stole something, I've always gotten in trouble. And I made the comment, well, if we're just going to do that, we might as well just go rape somebody. Because anytime I steal something, I always get in trouble. So that was, and after I said that, you know, the wheel started turning his head, and I wasn't admitting nothing. I was just trying to get him off the track of going and stealing something, which he did. He didn't say nothing else about stealing nothing that night.
All right, now that we're all caught up, let's get you back inside the courtroom for the post-conviction hearing for Zachary Adams. Right now, the state is presenting its evidence. We're listening to a cell phone expert who's testifying to the cell activity of the defendant, Adams.
9, I'm using the truck stop tower, sector 2. And then again at 1048, truck stop tower at 1048. And those are AM.
So we have him. Go back one. When was the last time he is? When Mr. Autry was in on truck stop tower, the previous page. Did he leave sector? Did Mr. Autry leave sector 2 of truck stop tower at 8:40 or 8:55?
No, 8:40 you use sector 1.
Sector 1. I'm sorry. At 8:55 he left. Mr. Autry left truck stop tower sector 2. Is that right?
In 8:55, he was on sector. His phone was on sector 2 of this tower right here, the truck stop tower.
Okay. And then the next what is the next activity on Mr. Autry's phone?
Can we go to the next page, please? The next activity was at 9:42. He's on sector 7 of the Birdsong Tower.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that there's there is a gap in activity between those two times?
There was nothing in the records in between those two times.
Then from sector 7 of Birdsong, Mr. Autry's phone travels to sector 9 of Birdsong. Is that right? At 10:35?
That's correct.
Okay. And then Mr. Autry's phone is back on truck stop cell tower sector 2 by 10:39 a.m.
That's correct.
Okay. Now I'd like you to jump to page 15 of your report. You see that okay?
Yes.
At the top, it's identifying cell phone number 731-733-01 911, which is Zach Adams' phone, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And the movement of that phone between 9:10 through 10:37 a.m. Is that right?
Can you scroll up a little bit more, please, or zoom it out?
Yeah.
No, it's from 9:10 up until 10:49 a.m.
Because it's jumping sectors.
It's changing power sectors, yes.
So, in regards to Mr. Zach Adams' phone, at 9:10 a.m., that phone is on truck stop sector 2.
That's correct.
Okay. At 9:12, he receives, well, is it a text message?
Yes, SMS, short message service, text message.
From 9:12, when does Mr. Zach Adams' phone next appear on the cell phone sector?
9:50. It's on the Birdsong Tower, sector 7.
So we have a gap in time between a gap in cell phone activity between 9:12 and 9:50 on Mr. Zach Adams' phone.
Yes.
Okay. And it starts, it leaves sector 2 of the truck stop tower at. Let me phrase the question. The last time it's on the truck stop tower is 9:12 a.m. and then there's a gap.
Yes, at 9:12, and then there's a gap. Next activity is at 9:50 a.m.
And that is on what tower and what sector?
Birdsong Tower, sector 7.
While they're talking, let's take the opportunity to bring in my guests for this hour to discuss. Joining us now from Washington, D.C., law enforcement and litigation expert Sonny Slaughter. Sonny, it's so fun for me to be on a little different schedule today to actually be on with you. You join us here at Court TV. I'm glad I get a chance to speak with you. For this reason, first, what stands out to me, do you know these, okay, so they're text messages between the defendant and the co-defendant, Jason Autry, but neither one of those have ever indicated or testified under oath that they didn't know each other, that they didn't have contact with each other. So how helpful do you think this testimony is to the state that they were texting one another?
Great to be on with you, Judge Ashley. It's always an honor and great to see you. Thank you for the question. And I think it's really critical that there is connectivity and data that actually shows that they were in communication with one another, that they were connected and they were speaking to one another. So I think this really lays a strong foundation for the prosecution and the case that they laid out to get the conviction initially.
And that's what they're trying to do, of course. They're trying to say this conviction is sound based on the evidence presented, Judge. He should not be given a new trial. So the other thing I kind of want to talk about a little bit with you is some people hear there's a hearing about the murder and he says he didn't do it. It is not to say the conviction would be overturned. That's not what would happen. If the judge agrees with the defense, it would be a new trial and they start over and present all of the evidence again. Comment on that piece of our justice system and how that works.
Thank you for that excellent question, because people get really frantic when they hear this. And when you don't understand process, then that creates confusion. So people should not be confused by the fact that he wants a new trial, and that's exactly what it would be. This would be an entirely new trial with the evidence, information, and every side would have the opportunity to argue their case again. And it doesn't mean that he's going to walk out the door because there's a new trial. It means that they're just going to have a new trial. This part of our criminal justice system may not make sense to some, but it really does show that the judicial system ensures that there were no mistakes, there was no fallibility, and if there was any questions, that they get a chance to redo this all over again if necessary, as long as the judge finds that there was nothing that tainted the case that should throw out the case altogether and just excuse the conviction or remove the conviction. That's not what's happening in this case. They would just retry the case over again.
Right, and the one piece of evidence that I would suggest wouldn't be present for the state if it has to be retried is that co-defendant saying, oh, he did it, because Jason Autry has now testified under oath. He recanted and said, nope, he didn't do it.